There we go. Different setup today, so I'm gonna come in while it goes live. So I gotta shut it off afterwards and such. Oh, there we go. A little bit more, looks like. From here. Oh, looks like I don't want to pull too much to the side there, which is all right. Let's just go to let's go to, all right, as this is all getting set up. All right, let it load, let it load, let it do its stuff. Cord is a little there, might have to move up a little bit, but everybody just give me a moment. Come on. There we go. All right, so boom. Share. There we go. Episode 9. There we go. All right. Now let's see how this looks over here. And then we'll go. Boom. Okay. Boom. Like I said, apologies everybody. First time doing this, so I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And everything's a little weird here. So let me just pull that up. That looks pretty good. If anybody else is watching, let me know how it looks. Make sure the volume is down. Okay. Looks like everything is pretty darn good. Take a look over there. All right. Everything's up and running. So, as I have said before, and I'll always say again, actually, I'll get the comments up on here. Hey, it works actually this time. For Loop wearing bitch. What up, Alex? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to North Sports, episode 9, May 11th, 2020. Yeah, you know how it is. It's me, Andrew Faubert, your host. This is going to be a little weird. I might have to hold this actually just to make sure it doesn't bounce, but that's okay. Long mic and stuff like that. You know how it is. It's all new, but at least I got the front-facing camera. It looks pretty good on that side there. So, yeah. Episode 9. I got a lot of stuff to get right into. But you know how I first do it? Follow me at Twitter at Andrew Faubert. That's where you'll see me going at the peoples. Kind of slowed down a little bit because I have kind of slipped up a couple of times thinking that Pittsburgh and Philadelphia were in 2 different states. Silly fucking me. Like, I should have just known better. Follow the Bucks Report, though, on Facebook and at Twitter, or on Twitter. That's where you're going to see me tonight, right after this show. And obviously, I'm a little late. And if I wasn't a little bit late, I wouldn't have to rush so much. But that's my own, stupidity, my own fault. But, oh well. Let's see here. Is this working? Is it working? Do I have... No, it's not even on there. Give me a second. Boom. Okay, so then I want to post this to my damn wall before I get into anything, and it's just not. There we go. I can hold this down here, actually, probably, too. That would work. There we go. Okay, so if I'm me... and I go to share. Stop it. No. There we go. Just share. There we go. My God. If only I wasn't so technologically illiterate. There we are. Boom. There we go. Then I'll open it up. Now I have it right in front of me and over there. Oh my God. I'm so bad at this. I apologize, everybody. There we go. All right. Now we're going to start it. Jesus. Oh my God. All righty. Now that I've gotten that all over and done with, let's try this again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to North Sports episode 9 with your host, Andrew Faubert, where I'm about to talk to you about some shit. We're about to have some sports. Is it true? It might be. But before we get into this, we got some stuff to take care of. Follow me on Twitter at Andrew_Faubert. That's my name. Where you're going to see me go at the peoples. But like I was just saying, I'm kind of slowed down a little bit. Follow the Bucks Report, where I'm going to be on tonight, where I'm not actually sure what we're going to be talking about. I haven't gotten the itinerary for it yet. But I'm assuming it'll be going up here pretty darn soon. And yeah, follow them on Facebook and Twitter because, you know, I'm kind of working for them as well. So a lot of those likes and follows go to helping the cause. So do that, ladies and gentlemen. You also can, share the videos and like the videos for your chance at the giveaways. And what's the giveaways? It's cards. And that's the only thing I think I actually forgot. I got like everything else basically set up in this new setup and blah, 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 blah. I don't have the fucking cards. I have failed. I have failed this podcast way too many times, ladies and gentlemen. But isn't that what makes it like kind of funny? Isn't that what you people want? You just want funny? You just want to laugh at me? That's understandable. I would want to fucking laugh at me too. Okay? So, yeah. Also give my article a read that I just wrote. Yes, I actually wrote something. I do that. I don't just say that. When I say I'm a writer, well, actually, I don't say I'm a writer. I say I do writings, because when people start doing, oh, what do you write for? Who's your editor? They just settle the fuck down there, okay? I don't do that kind of stuff. But yeah, give my article a read. Why does Canada not have an NFL team? And why we can have one? And when do we get one? I don't even know what it is. Why no Canadian NFL team and how to get one? Oh my God. I should really even know what my own fucking article is. Actually, it's right there. And it's true. It's right here. I printed it out because I bought a printer. And I made it right here. It's got the logo on it first. There's my article. And as you can see, I got a bunch of other stuff behind me. This is the reason why I got it set up this way, actually. So I wanted people to actually see it properly instead of backwards and see what my predictions are. And yeah, there we go. So if you want to see some shit, let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start giving you the updates on the North Sports Dynasty League. That's right. I set it up. Never actually done Dynasty before. I've always done, you know, like at the end of the year, you redraft and stuff like that. But I figured this podcast, and it's not a podcast until I actually put audio recorded content up there. And I'll get that eventually once I have more equipment. But I don't. My apologies. But in the meantime, you can see my shows. And I will give you updates on the shows, obviously, when we get into the season, right? About some crazy shit that's going on. So we just got almost enough people. We got 1 pulled out, 2 came in. I think we just got like 1 or 2 more spots left open. So if you actually want to hop into this league, it's Dynasty. So that means whatever you draft, you're basically keeping unless you trade or you drop them. So remember that. All right? Yeah, we're gonna update you on it. I'm gonna put the draft results on. I'm gonna show you like where everybody drafted, what everybody's team looks like, all the trades that go down. Why? Because I love a fantasy. I have won money. Ask most of the people who watch this show or who are in my work one or the other. Well, okay, not the Wild Wings one, because yes, I'm aware the little gambly. Listen, Daddy has to try to gamble sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't work. But this year, I'm going to try some shit differently. And I already gambled, but you know what? I got people calling me every day. I wake up to like 4 messages being like, hey man, what do you want for Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Jonathan Taylor? And I tell them what I want, and they're like, it's a little much for me. The asking prices, that's just a little high for me. Well, guess what? When it comes down to the rookie draft and stuff like that, you're going to be paying the price. Sorry. That's the way it is, motherfuckers. So, all right, let's get right down into it. The sports news. We got sports. We got confirmation that sports is coming. It may not be exactly what you want to watch right off the bat, but we do have sports coming in the immediate future. Like in the next 3 weeks. Well, actually, the next 6 days, you got the NASCAR, which we talked about. Starts on the 17th. We're supposed to have 7 races in 10 days, which I think is still absolutely ridiculous. One driver's going to fall and collapse. It's just the way it goes, ladies and gentlemen. I can see it happening. Number 2, we've got the Premier League. That was the big news when I woke up this morning. Yes, the UEFA, I think that's how it is. The UEFA Premier League is going to start up on June 1st. That means there's going to be European soccer. There's going to be no fans. So how the hell they're going to do that? There's a lot of details still to come out, but that is some of the basic knowledge that we have today, is that we are actually going to have some soccer in the near future. Yay! It's something. If people are getting excited in the States, especially for Korean baseball, pretty sure we could all get excited here for just some fucking actual soccer. Soccer is the biggest sport in the world here, people. Just because we live in North America doesn't mean you're going to be like, what is soccer? And shut the fuck up, okay? Soccer makes more money than anybody. The athletes make more money. That's why Cristiano Ronaldo basically smacked his kids around him and just like, I'm going to show you exactly where the fuck I grew up, okay? Your kids aren't going to be rich little bastards. That's the inevitability of it, okay? Premier League is starting up. But the other thing is, too, is next little bit here, what you're also going to see is the MLB proposal to return to play. Yes, so they dropped that out actually in the last couple of days here. There's been some rumors. And there's going to be more things that drop about it. But the things that are right there for us to see that they are going to propose is a 78 to 82 game season, which some of us have said do it. 80, make it like baseball or like basketball and hockey, where you make almost every single game like you're playing for a playoff spot instead of you taking a series off because you had a rough road trip. That's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. So, we're going to Colorado Rockies to go play the Rockies, and we're the Baltimore Orioles, and we've had a rough little stretch, and we don't exactly want to play that hard. It'd be nice to just relax here in Colorado, since Colorado might be a bad example because there's a lot to do in Colorado now, like get fucking high, but it's still, they're gonna be like, we could just take 3 days off and relax and then get ready for like New York or someone in our division and stuff. It wouldn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, okay? 82 games instead of 164. 82 games. That seems a lot more reasonable, okay? The way that they want to break down the playoff structure of that too is kind of weird. Basically 3 divisions. They would take one division from basically the NFC and combine it with an AFC. And I'm always down for like new things, especially because it's new age, like social media is kind of taking over, and we get to see a lot what people want. And a lot of people, for example, in basketball want to see the 1 through 16 because they don't believe the East is that good, which not necessarily that wrong. But in this case with baseball, there is not going to be the playoff extension happening, if that's part of this year as well. They're not going to have the new playoff format happen. So what do you do then? What do you do? The other really crazy thing about this here too is players would be forced to take a reduced salary or play on a revenue sharing plan. And baseball players are going to be so against that. And they make the most. That's the reason they're going to be so against. I want my money. I want to hit baseballs 450 feet in the middle of fucking nowhere and get $350 million paid by the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees to do it. Fuck them. Fuck them. Honestly, if you got to take a player revenue, NHL players have been taking a player revenue salary hit, player-friendly contracts for God knows how long if you really want to put it into perspective. Connor McDavid is the best athlete, besides Sidney Crosby, probably on ice right now. And both of those guys combined don't even... Hold on. Let me think about it. Both of those guys combined don't even make $25 million. There is dudes sitting on the bench in basketball, for crying out loud, who are making more money than that. This is ridiculous. And we've talked about this on the show. The media, the contracts with the rights and all that other shit, and it's not there, and the States doesn't like, Well, then take all the fucking teams away from them. Take some of those teams away from them. Make it a 24-team league. Put the team in Seattle because they actually want it. If you don't have a certain fan base of X amount of people and stuff like that, then piss off. Hockey needs to pay more players. Needs to pay more players. That's just the inevitable fact of it. Okay, the inevitable fact of it. The postponement of the new playoff format kind of got into that. I can't even remember what they wanted to do with the playoff format. But they want to just kind of can that until they get back to normality. Here's the fucking reality. We're not going back to normality. So you're going to have to do things that kind of blend in with some of the new stuff that you're going to have to do. And this might have to work. You might have to postpone this whole new playoff format for a while. I spittled all over my notes so well. It really, MLB is like, you can play this with have you gone to a Blue Jays game in the last 5 years? There's very minimum people at some of these games anyway. You do not sell those places out until the playoffs. Cut the damn season in half. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing a baseball game like anybody, or would love to see a baseball game like anybody else if it was that cheap and available, just like that. But it's not in my city. I'm not going to want to see it. And even people in Toronto don't want to see it. It's more of a States game. It's more of like a tourist attraction in Toronto. I get it. But it's still, if you're going to have to keep fans out, you're going to have to keep fans out. Hit some fucking home runs. Celebrate with your people. You're going to actually get to hear what players say. Instead of hearing like all the fans cheering and stuff like that, you actually get to hear what the players say to each other and after they celebrate. It's going to be kind of fucking awesome. I'm not going to lie. I want to hear that. I really, really do. Okay? I really, really do. The NHL and the NBA situation is going to be a little tougher, though. Just because they had a season. It's really the debate right now of, do you stop the old season or do you start a new season? UFC is, go again, 3 fights per week. Oh, yeah. UFC card was awesome from one of the highlights I saw. I didn't rent it because I have streaming, and people are going to be like, oh, you can do it off your PlayStation. Well, that's true, I guess. I just kind of realized that. UFC, that was a good card. Some fucking bloody knockouts. It was great. NHL and NBA situation here. You had a season. So if this was only 13 or 14 games into the season, they'd be like, fuck it, can it. Can't tell me who the worst team is, blah, 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 just can't it. But you're so close to like actually saying where certain players are going, like draft picks. And, teams going for championships. Can you imagine if this happened last year with the St. Louis Blues? The Blues won, guys. Like, come on, that's amazing. They got their first Stanley Cup. That was a cool little run. And I didn't watch much of it until I got to Game 7. And you know what? I'm kicking myself in the ass. I should have watched it. Should have watched some fucking games, guys. I really should have. But their situations get tougher only because, especially the NHL, because NBA players can make money. So they can help each other out. It's not exactly the same thing that can be said for hockey players. And especially because we're getting into the next topic, the hockey culture. Yeah, we got an issue that happened the other day. Brandon Lightstick. What a fucking idiot. The hockey culture that has happened here for the last little while, ladies and gentlemen, has not been a good one. Has it? You got coaches getting in trouble for like assault, basically. One coach has been fired who was a prominent fucking coach back in the day. And, well, maybe not even back in the day, recently. Babcock, Peters, Sutter. There's others, like the old Colorado coach. They have a harsh mentality for a reason. They want to win games. Michael Jordan had that mentality. We all have seen The Last Dance. And I was going to talk about The Last Dance, but I did not get a chance to watch the next 2 episodes. I've been working hard all day trying to get this shit going and getting ready for tonight, just in general. But with Brandon Leipzig here, getting caught with somebody hacking his account, whatever, and all this stuff getting posted. I'm going to be devil's advocate here for a second, and I'm just going to state one thing. Most players who don't make that much money in the NHL, NBA, NFL, blah, 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 all probably have group conversations and group chats like that. And now what you've done is you've allowed, because of what has happened to Brandon Leipzig here, especially in the NHL, the coaches, they just release it because he's got, like, there's no money owed to him, right? So it's like, it's an easy one. And because this involves other players that really don't make that money and they're not as big of names and stuff like that, you can just throw them away like they're fucking pieces of a chessboard. But what happens, and it hasn't happened to these players, but what happens if it was Jonathan Toews or Stamkos or McDavid or Crosby or any of those guys? You're not just going to release them because they're investments and they make a lot of money. Oh, we got to send them through this and that and everything else. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. You want to know what's going to happen? If teams are going to want to win certain games and they know that there's a player that plays a certain position at a certain edge and stuff like that, and you can get him out and you can hire hackers to find one thing about him, just one. You just post it and people will tear them apart and they will demand him be suspended. It's as simple as that. That's what it's coming down to. You got the NFL and the NHL and the MLB and NHL, NBA, all of them, and with the suspensions that they do. And then on the flip side, you got the other side of things where the suspensions that they're going to have to do. Like when this guy got released. I hope you got a good fucking lawyer, and I hope you can learn how to speak Russian because you're going to play in the KHL. But at the same time, like, there's probably how many players that have been saying the same type of shit? They're hockey players. It's the hockey culture. We live in Canada, where the only sport we have been able to put any type of money into is hockey. And what have we given? What have we been given in return? The Dallas Stars, the Columbus Blue Jackets, bullshit teams in bullshit locations, instead of getting another Canadian team where you can generate some money off of Canadians. That's all we want to do. We want to watch our Canadian teams. It'd be awesome to have the Nordiques back. It'd be awesome to give Toronto another fucking team, just so we could boo both of them every year. It'd be awesome to give the East Coast a hockey team. It'd be awesome to put one in Regina or Saskatchewan right in the fucking middle. It would be awesome. Because people would pay for it. But you want to keep doing this and keep getting the hockey culture and stuff like that, then what's going to happen is the hockey culture itself is going to have to change. It's going to have to change. These players are going to have to smarten the fuck up. It's legit. And we're not going to be able to get the players that we like anymore because of it. It is bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. And I mean it. Brad Marchand, gone. Patrick Kane, gone. That whole rape case that was happening a couple of years and stuff like that. That would just end him. Even if it went to court and it was proven innocent, it would end him. There's shit like that, guys. And if we, not saying we have to allow that social justice type of stuff to affect the way that we go and suspend people, but what I'm saying is this is going to. And if you allow people to hack in and use that against you, and all of a sudden you're going to just release people and stuff like that, then people are going to start doing this, and it's going to become a problem. It really is. And to some of you hockey players, stop being fucking dicks. I understand you're like, wow, it's the culture. We were born into it. We play on the ice. We were born in a team aspect, where there's only 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 to 40 people. It's like a big family. So I get it. Everybody gets it. Everybody gets it. But your douchebaggery sometimes is now causing a major issue where you guys are not going to be able to get money because, first of all, you got Gary Bettman as your fucking GM. And second of all, it's bad advertisement when most of you guys don't want to get hit because you guys are pansy asses now. Hockey back then was still way better than what it is now. Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin Sidney Crosby went out because of a head injury, because he got hit, and then they changed the whole fucking league after that. Crosby would have came back. They would have hired 2 goons to knock anybody else who would have tried to do that ever again. Okay? That's all it should have ever been. But now you got people getting hit by fucking Wilson from the Capitals and Marchand and stuff like that, where some of those are clean and they're getting suspended fucking 10 games. Fuck that. Fuck the culture that we got right now. Smarten the hell up. And maybe we'll actually switch things around and you'll get like a Connor McDavid that can get paid $30 million a year to sit there and do figure skating around fucking people and destroy the Flames and win Stanley Cups and stuff like that. That thing went flying. I don't even know if I have another pen around here. Actually, I do. There it is. There we go. I get worked up. I knew I would get worked up with this hockey culture one. Hockey culture is just bullshit to me sometimes here, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. And some of these players really need to smarten the fuck up. And now we're going to go into actually something that's going to make me laugh as part of the last segment of the day, and I saved it for last. There's a reason why I set up the show like this today. It's to talk about the schedule and the breakdown of the schedule for the NFL that I got behind me here. As you can see, I spent most of the day doing this, and this is the raw part. I haven't actually been able to put it on paper yet, and that's the, not say bullshit part, but need to still get it on paper to make it like professional and can get it in my notes and then I can erase it before, say, any of the kids come here and they're like, go with the crayons or whatever, right? Which is not going to happen. So I'll fix it beforehand, but you know how it is. Anyway, let's get into the season here, ladies and gentlemen. The one thing that you can kind of see behind me is you saw this little playoff breakdown. A lot of people who've been watching, which props to me. That's a little egotistical, and I don't like to be like that. It's only when I'm right. Right now, I'm not right. I just spit some stuff, and I think I'm right, but I know I'm right as well. To all the people who've been watching, there's a lot of views actually today. So behind me, you see this nice little playoff structure that I've set up. And the playoff structure that I've set up is actually based off of the standings. And how do I get the standings? Well, you obviously got to go through the season. You can't just say a bunch of teams are going to be these records and this, that, and everything else and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't work like that, okay? What I did is I went through every single game, starting week 1, every single team, made my prediction, who would win, what score, this, that, and everything else, blah, 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 blah. And the only thing that really surprised me is I think this is the first year where you have a couple of teams that are going to be really, really good, and it's not with the normal names of quarterbacks anymore. And I don't mean, say, the Kansas City Chiefs with a different quarterback. No, what I mean is like Kansas City and Baltimore are going to be up there because they got young quarterbacks. And we knew that, kind of, right? Because they are new quarterbacks and they're young and they do amazing, that's the new normal, is expect Kansas City and Baltimore to be there for the next few remaining years unless there's a bad injury. And in this case, what I got for the AFC, to give you a quick little breakdown just of the standings, Buffalo would take over your AFC East with 11-5. Miami with Tua would be 7-9 for the first year. I do think he's kind of the real deal here, and I think they built it well around him. So, and remember, this is very early. Very, very early. This is all subject to change, and it will all change right before opening kickoff, and then I will lock everything in. I will actually have a box where I will write certain things down. I will put it in, and we'll put that box away, and we will see what I was right on, and we will see what I was wrong on. The Jets 5-11, and the Patriots at 5-11. Yes, I got the Patriots at 5-11. Let's not kid ourselves. If Stidham's the guy to come in and do good, you need a better offense around him to get the wins, but that defense is going to be able to squeeze out a few extra of the wins and prevent the Patriots from actually, let's say, tanking. In the AFC North, I got Baltimore taking it with 11-5, beating out Pittsburgh, who will also go 11-5. Cleveland 9-7, with Cincinnati going 4-12. Now, Baltimore obviously is a given. I think Big Ben is the one person that we're not talking too much about here. Big Ben is going to be back. He's got a whole year to recover and then some. So, and they went 9-7 and barely missed the playoffs without him. You do not think bringing Big Ben in with just that team is good enough for 2 more wins? I think we all do. Cleveland 9-7. That's not a surprise to anybody, but as you'll see by the standings down here and stuff like that, which we'll get to in a little bit, they do miss the playoffs, but it's a start. When you're actually playing for playoffs at the end of the season and you can get the dog pound around, you can get the dog pound around that. Okay, that is something to build on for the next season. It's not easy when you got Pittsburgh and Baltimore, but Pittsburgh will have to get a new quarterback. And that could be where you can start taking that extra reign away, because I don't think you're going to take it away from Baltimore just yet. Cincinnati 4-12. Joe Burrow needs a year. He needs a year or two. He just needs a couple more weapons. He needs an O-line. That's a pretty simple one. The AFC South. Indianapolis 10-6, Houston 10-6, Tennessee 8-8, and Jacksonville 1-5. I'm not just throwing Jacksonville under the bus here at 1-5. I'm really not. I want them to actually do better, and they could go as good as 6-10. To be completely honest with you, they can go as bad as 6-10. But I think Minshew is not going to work as well as we think. I think the defense has specific holes that is in there for a reason. And what I actually predicted in here is them going on an early run of losses where they fire Doug Marrone and they bring in a new coach in, either just for the remainder of the season or to actually be the new coach. And I think it'll need to take a little bit before they actually get their quarterback of the future. With that record, obviously, what do you think they're going to go for? But the rest of that division, I think Phillip Rivers gives them a 10-6. Houston going 10-6. Houston still got holes. So Houston is just a way better version of Jacksonville when it comes to holes. And Deshaun Watson is Michael fucking Jordan of NFL quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes is really good. Lamar Jackson is really good. But Deshaun Watson can do some shit, and we've seen it. He just needs a team and an O-line around him. Tennessee 8-8. It's a down year. But what do you expect? You invest all this money. You don't know what Derrick Henry is and stuff like that. So I think when you try to make it all about one player, it's not going to work. Derrick Henry out at the end of the season, becoming a free agent. And they're going to take that third rounder that they got and run with him. The AFC West, I got Kansas City going 12-4, Denver at 11-5. The Vegas Raiders 8-8, and the Chargers at 7-9. Kansas City 12-4. I had them losing a couple of games where I didn't actually think they would lose. But when you look at their schedule and how it's set up, it's pretty easy for them. I think this is set up for them to have a good regular season and get the fans and the media and everything back around it. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch Patrick Mahomes win games. And I think that's what you're basically going to see. The surprise in all of this, though, and I think the surprise for a lot of people, is Denver. Why is Denver going 11-5? I had in my mid-season, which I have on my phone here somewhere, I had Denver basically the highest slated team. Yeah, that's right, Denver. Drew Lock may not be the answer, but this season, he sure as fucking hell is, okay? We've seen RG3 and a few other quarterbacks in the past have one good season and then start panning off on a scale. Drew Lock may have, done pretty damn well, especially at the end of the season last year for what that team was. But they invested a lot of money in a lot of places. They got defensive help. They got offensive help. They got wide receiver help. They got running back help. There's a lot of help in Denver, and they trust in him. And if it doesn't work, then, they'll move on. But I do think that he is good enough to get them over the hump and win certain games. And those certain games are the games that they were pretty close to losing last year. And you add two more to it. Just because of the talent. They got Melvin Gordon. Okay? Which we'll get to my last part, actually, before we go. Which is my list to have in fantasy draft, which we'll get to in a little bit here. But that's the AFC. NFC quick. NFC North. Minnesota 11-5, Green Bay 10-6, Chicago 6-10, and Detroit 5-11. Minnesota's going to take that division. A lot of people are talking about Green Bay and what happened with Aaron Rodgers, this, that, and everything else, blah, 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 blah. Aaron Rodgers is going to take a little bit of a step back, but I think what he's going to prove is last year they were a 13-3 team that shouldn't be 13-3. I think this year they're going to prove that they're a 10-6 team that doesn't deserve to be 10-6. They actually deserve to be higher. But then that's going to end in the playoffs. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get everybody's hopes up in Green Bay and just be like, fuck you. I'm going to go win a ring with somebody else. I'm going to go lose in the first round, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to lose in the first round. Chicago 6-10. Just get a quarterback. Just get a quarterback and a couple more tools and you guys are there. This could easily be an 8-8 team. I don't think Nick Foles is necessarily a starting quarterback. I think he was put in a proper position in Philadelphia to succeed, and that is it. Detroit 5-11. Sorry to all my Lions fans who actually watch this. Stafford is great. Stafford is great. I'm not going to deny that Stafford is great. I think that it's Matt Patricia now. I think it's the culture he tried to bring to Detroit, and I don't think it's the type of culture that is wanted necessarily in Detroit. So he's going to win a couple of, key important games later on in the year and stuff like that, but I don't think that Matt Patricia is going to keep his job. Sorry, Lion fans. I think you're going to have to accept that you're going to be able to beat the Packers and the Vikings one time this year, and maybe the Bears, and a couple of key road games against some other people. Make some games interesting for your young squad and stuff like that. DeAndre Swift is going to be amazing. Kerryon Johnson, I think it's done. But yeah, the Lions, give it a couple of years. They'll be back, but not this year. NFC East, Philadelphia 10-6, Dallas 9-7, Washington 5-11, and the Giants 5-11. This one I'm going to be very quick on, very frank. Philadelphia, I think, is going to be the team that signs Jadeveon Clowney. I think that is worth a win. And that is the reason why when I've gone through all this, Philadelphia will look pretty dominant at the midway of the season and will fall off a little bit towards the end. They'll lose to Dallas. I think it's week 16 that they play them. They're going to lose to Dallas, and it's going to look really competitive. I got Dallas losing to the Giants in week 17. That's just how rival games go, ladies and gentlemen. That felt good. That's just how rival games go, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that Philadelphia is going to take that division. Washington and the Giants, they have the right pieces in play. They just need a couple more. And they'll win some games, just like the Lions. They'll win some games at key important times. They're not a bad necessarily team. They just need a couple more players and a couple more, little things here and there. And they're a team that can be feared and a team that should be feared if you just give them a little bit of time. You go to the NFC South. This is the big one where everybody was like, what is he going to put 16-0 for the Buccaneers? I'm being realistic all across the board. I'm not even putting my being a Bucs fan into this just yet, okay? New Orleans is going to take it at 10-6. Tampa Bay also going to be 10-6. Atlanta at 8-8, and Carolina at 3-13. The biggest thing in here is when I went through the schedule is I had Atlanta at 11 games in the season with 11 or 12 games going at the 11th or 12th week in the season at 8-3. I do not think they got enough power to last. I think how they lost 28-3, they're going to be the team that everybody talks about this year and then lose out the rest of the year. Whereas everybody's going to start talking about the Buccaneers because they got the Buccaneers going 6-6 until their bye week and then winning 4 straight. Coincidence? No. But the Buccaneers will need to win certain games and certain little championships for their own team before they can start thinking about the big games. And one of those things to do is you need to be better than Atlanta this year. If Atlanta is reloading and retooling to beat you and become the second place and knock you out of the playoffs, you need to be aware then that what's going to happen is you're going to need to beat them week 15 and week 17 in their dome and at our own house. You need to beat them. That's the inevitability at this point now. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You need to win those 2 games at Atlanta. There's a reason why they're at the end of the season. This is also another thing for Tom Brady. This is to put the nail in the coffin for Atlanta. I win 28-3. I am done. Okay? We're good. We're done. This, that, and everything else. Goodbye. Number 2. Tampa Bay will face New Orleans in the first round. That's another little championship that they need to do. Okay? Going into the NFC West to finish it off, Arizona 12-4. What the fuck? I'll get into that in a second. Seattle 9-7, Rams 7-9, and the 49ers 6-10. Yes, it's a Super Bowl hangover. You need a couple more tools. If you were already talking about trading Jimmy Garoppolo away for Tom Brady, what do you think you're honestly telling Jimmy Garoppolo? That he may not be the next quarterback for you for very much longer. So you need to retool everywhere that you did, which you're doing a pretty damn good job. But once you already let that shit leak out and you didn't address it very well, I think this has gotten to Jimmy Garoppolo's head, especially when he fucks a porn star. Just saying. The Rams 7-9. You're letting Gurley go. I think this is about time to start considering what Goff is to you. But Goff is a good quarterback, just like Carson Wentz is. I think teams who need quarterbacks will start going after these guys. We'll see what happens, okay? But that's a big contract to drop. It's needed in the Rams. It's LA. If the Chargers are going to go 7-9, but they got the quarterback of their future, you need to do something now. Seattle going 9-7. I think that they start winning at the end of the season to get themselves into a playoff contention, and they're going to be the 7th seed going in, and we'll get to that in a second. Arizona 12-4. Why? In my mock draft, I had them taking an offensive lineman, and I thought that was going to be the offensive lineman to take them to the promised land. Why the promised land there? Because it just would have been able to give them a little back kick and stuff, a little protection there. Why don't you just load it up? Why don't you just load him up? Kyler Murray, this guy who was a top 10 pick in baseball and a top 10 pick in football, who's never been done before. But yeah, he's small, but you give him all the talent that you possibly can. You give him DeAndre Hopkins on one side, he's got Christian Kirk on the other side, he's still got Larry Fitzgerald, and he's still got 2 other wide receivers who are fucking fantastic. He's got a tight end. Now, I can't remember what his tight end is that they got. They got running backs. Okay? They have talent. And to be honest with you, the real kicker on the side is what they have on defense. I think the Arizona Cardinals schedule right now is set up for them to start doing pretty damn good at the beginning of the season and keep that momentum with one player only. It's called Isaiah Simmons. Bringing a culture. It's bringing a change. Arizona defense used to be dominant not that many years ago, and that used to be the reason why that offense can throw some picks away. Bruce Arians' offense, I'm completely aware of it. That defense can be amazing again. There's players still in there. Patrick Peterson is not done. Patrick Peterson will be a Hall of Famer. He can win this championship and put himself into contention. Okay? This offense that they can provide can score 28.5 points a game, can even score 30 points a game. You gave him DeAndre Hopkins, for crying out loud, guys. You gave him DeAndre Hopkins. I think with the way that this division, everyone's scared of the NFC West. I think that's the one to be least scared of because Arizona's got the right talent now to do it. They do. So what's going to happen in all this? Oh, I see a comment. Hold on. I think 12-4 is a little steep. 10-6. Agreed. When I looked at it and I saw where they were, it's like, whoa, how did I get them so high? There's a couple of games in there where if this team, Arizona team, starts going on a win streak, they can pick one off of the Rams, they can pick one off of the Seattle Seahawks, and you can pick, say, 2, which I think I got them off of the 49ers, and all of a sudden there's that extra little win that you need for them to be 12-4. That's a 10-6 team, just like you said. It's a 10-6 team. 12-4 with Cliff Kingsbury offense. That's the other major thing that we didn't get. Remember how badass he looked? That's a badass looking coach. He knows what he's doing. The offense itself is set up right now to be consistently good for the next 3 years. It's adding Isaiah Simmons to add that defensive culture and that whatever the hell he's going to be there. It's just going to be 12-4. I don't see them going worse than 8-8, obviously, and I know that's a big flex and stuff like that, but I am rolling the dice with the Cardinals. I think that they can do it. But there's a reason why I got them 12-4 and not talking too highly about them, because let's get into the playoffs before we get out of here. Playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Playoffs. So obviously we got the structure breakdown this year. We got 7 teams making the playoffs, so Kansas City and Arizona get your buys. 4th and 5th seed is Indianapolis versus Denver, Buffalo versus Pittsburgh for 3 versus 6, and Baltimore versus Houston 2 versus 7. That's right. A 10-6 team would have missed the playoffs. It's been done before. That's right. But not this year. Arizona gets the number 1. New Orleans would have a home game against Tampa Bay. Philadelphia would host Green Bay for 3 versus 6, and Minnesota would host Seattle 2 versus 7. Everybody loves Minnesota versus Seattle games, don't they? Now you go look what I got here. I think at the end of it all, Indianapolis with Phillip Rivers is going to want to go on a run. I think Drew Lock is going to need, just like what a few rookies need, is a couple of playoff losses, especially when he's not that high of a rounded pick. Von Miller can only do so much. Nick Chubb can only do so much. That defense can only do so much. Phillip Rivers wins game 1. Pittsburgh beats Buffalo. Josh Allen just needs to keep losing because I think one year he's going to be like the Kurt Warner and he's just going to go off and he'll have like a 4 to 5 year stretch where he is the quarterback to beat. Just needs to start losing right now. And I hate to say it because I want to see the Bills do good, especially if they get a 3rd seed. Baltimore would beat out Houston. I think that's where you get Michael Jordan, versus Michael Vick. It's a really bad comparison, but like that's really what it is. 2 versus 7, 48-45 game. That's what I think it would be. Baltimore would win it. Down in the NFC, the first round, Tampa Bay beats New Orleans. New Orleans gets the first game of the season. Tampa Bay gets the second game of the season. We're talking Drew Brees, you're going to a, CBS? You're going to go to a booth already. Your mind is somewhere else. Tom Brady's mind is for at least 2 years dedicated to winning a championship for this team. Thank you very much. You lose in the Superdome to the Bucs, 38-31. Call it a day. The other side, Philadelphia beats Green Bay at home, and then I got Minnesota beating Seattle at home. Second round, respectively, Kansas City would face Kansas City would face Indianapolis. That's an easy one there, ladies and gentlemen. Pittsburgh versus Baltimore. What a game that would be, but Baltimore takes it. Tampa Bay would place Arizona. This is where I think it comes down to Tom Brady. He's the veteran. The team is there. The defense knows how to play. Arizona is just so hyped going in. They think we could beat the old man. Old man takes them out. That's just how it's done. Philadelphia versus Minnesota. I think Philly takes it. Minnesota is overhyped. Kirk Cousins gets his, revenge on Seattle or whatever you want to call it, but he's not going to get revenge on Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia would give a good run, especially for some historic reference here. Kansas City faces Baltimore. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going 2 years in a row, ladies and gentlemen. I think Lamar Jackson is going to get over this hump this year. I really do. He makes it to the Super Bowl against who? Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay. The last time Philadelphia versus Tampa Bay in the playoffs, Rondé Barber took the pick 6 home and Tampa Bay went on to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. So Tampa Bay gets pretty darn close, doesn't do anything like historically referenced like that, but they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. We go to Tampa, ladies and gentlemen, for Super Bowl 55, Baltimore Ravens versus Tampa Bay. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm sorry to say it, but this is how it would go. Lamar Jackson would take a pretty healthy lead in the first quarter at 13-0. Tom Brady knows that he cannot just sit there. So he starts throwing these bombs and these darts. We get 2 quick touchdowns, and so does Baltimore. So it's a 20-14 at half. Then the defense starts planking it up, just like we knew it would. Starts getting a couple interceptions just to make sure that we are in perfect contention for 1 touchdown by Tom Brady and 1 field goal. So then we're looking at 23-20. Baltimore gets 1 touchdown to make it 27-23 in the fourth quarter. Tom Brady then, with 3 minutes to go, has the chance to get a touchdown, which he would. 30-27. Lamar Jackson then has his weight put on his shoulder with 1:21, 1 timeout. He can't do it. Ball turned over. Tampa Bay defense takes it. Tampa Bay wins the damn Super Bowl. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it plays out, and that is right now how I am calling it. That's how it's going to happen. You can quote me on that too. You can go back to the show and tell me what you think of that. So before we go, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to get into this here quick because I'm going to be on the Bucs report here pretty darn soon. And I got to eat something like, wait. All right, my list of 10 halves for normal bet players, since we were talking about fantasy football here and I talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Guess what? I'm getting them. There's only one other trade offer that I may consider. I don't know about that. All right, number 10, Sony Michel, running back out of New England. Why? There's nobody else in New England. Now, Harry might be an interesting pick, but Sony Michel is going to be the guy where they give it down to first and second down. First and second down. First and second down. It's going to be a very boring Bill Belichick-led offense, okay? But he's going to be good for your fantasy. Number 9, Calvin Ridley, the Atlanta wide receiver. Everybody's going to be blocking Julio Jones. And Calvin Ridley is starting to come into it a little bit here, so I would start watching for him. Number 8, DJ Chalk Jr., wide receiver from Jacksonville. I mean, It just makes sense. It's really the only target in there, except for a couple of rookies and stuff like that. And we don't necessarily know what rookies is going to be that good. Chenault's going to be pretty darn good, but like which junior is he going to throw it to? Number 7, Austin Hooper, tight end from Cleveland. That's just a given. He was paid. Baker Mayfield, you got to check down if your running back's not there. Boom, the tight end's right there. Number 6, Carlton Sutton, the wide receiver from Denver. I mean, Judy is going to be a nice player to have, but Sutton had made some pretty darn good catches as well. Imagine having like Mike Evans and a Julio Jones on your team. Drew Lock is going to be loving life. Number 5, Mike Williams from the LA Chargers, wide receiver. This guy is one of the best wide receivers in the league, and nobody knows it. He's not getting the respect he needs because he's also not getting all the passes he deserves. This guy's hands are amazing. Absolutely amazing. I have never seen anybody's hands like that. Ever. It is absolutely amazing. Number 4, Ronald Jones II, Tampa Bay running back. Why do I have him so high? Because if he actually is good, and it was based off of the O-line and the quarterback that we had last year, don't you think he's going to be damn better this year with Tom Brady at a pretty damn good O-line? If you don't think so, then you're not understanding what the caliber of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can be this year. And I'm not even just saying that as a fan, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at them. It's stacked. The third stringer's a starter for the Jags, for crying out loud. Number 3, James Conner, running back from Pittsburgh. He's been injured. He's the cancer survivor. And then he's got some competition. But this guy we've seen can be banged around and can carry the ball for 30 times a game. And he's going to put up 150 yards. He's healthy now. Give him some time. He's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2, Devontae Parker, wide receiver, Miami. Tua doesn't really have any targets yet. He's got a tight end. He's got a couple of running backs. Don't you think he wants a wide receiver to actually throw to? Be kind of interesting to have Devontae Parker. And number 1, Melvin Gordon out of Denver. He got what he wanted. He got a little bit of money. He got paid. And you know what? He's got an offense. So you don't get it to Sutton. You don't get it to Judy. You don't get to your tight end. You got Melvin Gordon right there. And how fucking amazing is that? You get the best check down running back that you could probably ask for. Denver looks amazing this year, ladies and gentlemen. Denver and Arizona are the 2 teams that I'm saying to watch out for. Great draft, great free agency, and just all around decent coaching. Cliff I love way more than what Denver's got, but like, my God, Denver is just ready. Then watch them this year, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be scary. Same thing with the Bucs. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into episode 9. I will be on the Bucs Report here later on in about an hour or 2. So tune in for that. You will see me. And make sure to share and follow me on North Sports. Tell all your friends. Follow us to keep an eye on our Dynasty League. I'll give you tips and pointers to how to run your own, how to play your own, all that kind of stuff. I will be here to support you. We'll learn together. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Follow me at Twitter at Andrew_Bobear. Share and like this shit for the giveaway. Follow Bucs Report. You know the drill. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see you next week. Sports is coming soon. I'm excited. Ooh, thank you again. Love you.